I'm Leticia Snow, also go by Leticia Gonzales, which is my writing name. I grew up in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and came to Minnesota in 1997 after high school. I'm currently Assistant Library Supervisor at the St. Peter Public Library. I oversee the young adult teen programming and selections, and I'm also a freelance writer. I have always been a writer since I can remember. I always wanted to be some type of author. When I was little, I used to write a lot of stories. I always dreamt of writing a book one day when I was younger. And when I went to the University of Minnesota, my emphasis was actually broadcast journalism. I ended up doing just 1 year at a TV station out of college as associate producer, and I hated it. I was writing, which is what I love to do, but it wasn't meaningful in any way. I wasn't doing any work that I felt like. It was just very repetitive. And so I kind of just wanted something where I felt I was contributing in my community. And I just kind of started looking for nonprofits that'd be interested in working for. Then my art kind of just took a standstill when I started having children. And when I moved to St. Peter, the library kind of opened doors to connect with people. I had a woman approach me from Capstone Publishing asking if I had ever thought about writing, authoring for books as a freelance writer. And I said, well, I've never done it, but, I would be open to it. And out of the blue, one day I got this email from Capstone asking if I would like to author a book, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her biography. And it was just recently after she had won her election. I couldn't turn down the opportunity. It was kind of one of those things it's now or never. I've never done a project like this. I don't know if I'm capable of doing a project like this, but I decided to take it on. And it gave me the confidence to kind of take on any other projects that this publishing company had. They ended up having me do a second book on Sylvia Mendez, who was a prominent Mexican woman who helped with desegregation of schools. I had a friend. She just out of the blue sent me this grant. And I looked at it and I'm like, well, I'm not really an artist, Am I an artist? I'm a writer, but I'm not producing anything imaginative or creative. I looked at this grant and I kind of read more about it, and it was speaking about community engagement and being a cultural bearer. I'm like, wait a minute, these are things that I'm interested in. These are things that I started exploring in my community. And then I realized, maybe I can do this. And if I don't get it, at least I tried. Maybe this is the motivation I need to write this book. I've always wanted to write some of my own work. My dad, growing up, used to tell me these stories all the time. And he would call them the Baby Bobby stories. And he would tell us these stories every night, kind of like a bedtime story of they were based on his childhood, of experiences he had about growing up in the desert. And, he grew up in poverty, but they did a lot of outdoor play in the 50s. And so I'm like, I'm going to write this book. I'm going to write this picture book, and I'm going to pick one of the stories my dad told me, and I'm just going to go for it. When I received the email that I got in, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, okay, maybe I am an artist, maybe I have something left in me. And so then it motivated me. That was probably one of the most exciting things, is when I first met all of the artists at our first retreat, just hearing kind of their experiences with identity, about race, and then living in rural communities. I finally felt validated in my feelings. And then just hearing their stories and just the vast, diverse experience that I had, then I started to realize, yes, we all are artists, and I am an artist, People don't realize it takes a lot of thinking and creativity to write, Even though writing is something I've loved since I was a kid, there are times where you struggle to get thoughts from your head onto paper. I get a lot of my inspiration running. I'm a runner. So I'm spending sometimes 3 or 4 hours at a time out there and just thinking, thinking about anything and everything, or sometimes nothing at all. But it helps me kind of clear my mind and to think about memories and maybe get inspiration about what I'm going to write about, and kind of think about what's important to me and what I want to share with the world.